What's up, ladies and gentlemen? Good morning. It's time to rise and shred. Ladies and gentlemen, look at the absolutely brilliant shirt Jacob is wearing this morning. He's looking absolutely dapper. As always, it's the cool, calm, and collected look. We need to be cool. There's so much heat. It's a heat wave in our country. We need to find the outfits that just make us look good, as Jacob always does. Plus, they actually keep us physically cool. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rise and shred. It's the one, the only daily diary of the mortgage industry. We're bringing it to you. Did Fannie Mae blow it, ladies and gentlemen? FHFA, the new beginning starts today. Are you ready for it? Are you ready for it? Ladies and gentlemen, it's time to rise and shred. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. We are so excited for you to be joining us on this Monday morning as we approach the 4th of July holiday. Heat waves all across the country. FHFA is, well, it's a new beginning for them. And did Fannie absolutely blow it for all of us? Did they blow it for us? We're going to get into all that and so much more. Before we get to that, as we always like to do, Mr. Jacob Gaffney, how was your weekend, sir?
It was really, really good. It's going to rain today here in Texas. I hear I will pack some of it, send it to Utah for you.
Dude, I need some water here, man. It has been absolutely brutal. We could use all the water we can get. But no bloodbaths this weekend? No rugby tournaments? Everybody's good. Everybody's alive. That's good news, right?
We are good. I can't say the same for the investors, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac from 2012. But it's been fun. You know, always nice when the housing market hits the Supreme Court.
Yep.
Always a major change coming when the justices render a decision. And that is definitely what we're seeing now. Very complicated issues involving right now. And there's a lot going on, and it's going to be this way for some time. Thanks for Collins v. Yellen. So.
Dude, that was a perfect. You literally hit that on the head, going from transition to bloodbath to Fannie. Like, absolutely. But hold on. Biggest story of the day, ladies and gentlemen. It's Jacob Gaffney's birthday. Can we show him some love up here in the chat? Happy birthday, Jacob Gaffney. The balloons are raining down. He continues to absolutely just be a brilliance and a shining light that we need in the industry. And 1 year older and wiser. Well, hopefully wise. Something like that. But happy birthday, Jacob.
Thank you. I had to sneak that one in there, Josh.
I did.
I had to sneak that one in there.
I did it so subtly, too. I don't know if anybody's going to notice it, but, that's the way we roll here on Rise and Shred.
Oh, I was trying to make this not about me kind of thing, but all right.
Yes, let's go. It's all about you. Come on, let's be honest. Without you, we'd be absolutely lost. Happy birthday. There we go in the chat. Happy birthday, Jacob. All right, so let's talk about Fannie. Let's go into that a little bit more, because this really is one of those things where, a deal somewhat backfired on our good friends over at Fannie. Let's dive into the details.
So in 2012, investors in Fannie Mae brought a lawsuit saying they want their money, right? That they invested in Fannie Mae. The government took over Fannie and Freddie. They argued that Fannie and Freddie did not need to be capitalized by the government. They were fine. Right after the subprime crisis, they were not going to go out of business. They were investors, and you can't just come in and take over our business, right? That we're invested in. So these, and the people who are like on the side of the nationalist government socializing housing, right? That's the way it goes. Said like these are hedge funds, these aren't individuals, and all that. Anyway, if you're on Twitter, Fannie Gate is a huge thing. Okay, it's a huge thing. Anyway, the Supreme Court ruled late last week 2 things. Number 1, Fannie Gate investors, they don't get no money. Okay, they might get something, but they're not going to get their money back. They're not going to be fulfilled. It's not going to happen. Okay, they basically remediated everything to the lower courts. Okay, huge blow, which Slate ran a scathing editorial. And then before we talk about that scathing editorial, which dominated today's Rise and Shred, I will say the opposite opinion will be in tomorrow's Rise and Shred.
Oh, interesting.
Okay. So
taking both sides.
Taking both sides, showing all sides, right? We show all sides. If you read today's Rise and Shred, it is very much against what Fannie Gate did. And there is some huge claims in there, right? They're saying that by bringing this lawsuit, they essentially shot themselves in the foot. They knew better. There was no way that the judicial was going to say that another branch of government has to pay up, right? And that's a fair point. That's a fair point, right? The government is in a money raising phase right now to deal for its infrastructure. We know that not in the previous administration, but the administration before it, Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac were cash cows for the administration. Okay, they were just cutting checks to the Treasury left and right, and we had to fight to get that money put back in housing. Okay, this administration, this ruling shows us, and we'll get to the second point of the ruling. The second point of the ruling says that the president, any president, okay, not just this president, any president can fire anybody in charge at their will, thus making the position of the CFPB, the FHFA, it's political now in the sense that any president can fire you. Okay, if you're not doing it the way they want it done, they can fire you. They don't have anything in their way anymore. The Supreme Court justices reasoned that the head of the executive branch should be in charge of all the departments of the executive branch. It makes sense. But on the other hand, the president fired the head of the FHFA, who immediately went on Fox News. Mark Calabria went on Fox News and talked about how housing is turning woke. Okay, so
yes,
the comments of the new director of the FHFA drew a lot of consternation from the right-wing media, who sees a huge NIMBY movement, which is not my backyard. They see housing as being taken over and is going to start introducing woke policies to it, right? That this is the national media thread right now. So where do we go from that? Okay. The new director of the FHFA is saying that we need to reopen lending. In her first day on the job, she said that we need to reopen lending. And I'm interpreting a little bit here, John.
Yep, I got you.
I'm interpreting a little. We need to bring back subprime. That's what she said. For people who have less than pristine credit, we need to get them houses. From where? I don't know. I don't know where these houses are going to come from. Is it going to be, I don't know, Larry Kudlow of Fox Business is worried about minorities encroaching on the suburbs. That's a huge talking point, right?
Huge.
That was something that Trump reversed, the HUD initiative that Obama put in that deregulated the way in which minorities are allowed to enter the suburbs. I don't know about you, Josh. You live in Utah, but up here in North Texas, okay, our suburbs are hugely diverse. All right.
Yep,
we do not have this issue. We do not have these concerns that the suburbs are being overrun by subprime borrowers. We don't have inventory, right? We're building, and if you could buy it, good on you. The FHFA is saying we need to expand the credit box to essentially subprime levels again, and we can do it. We can do it, Josh.
Sure.
Okay, we have the technology, we have the infrastructure in place to not make the same mistakes of the subprime crisis of 2008.
Right.
So the industry, what is changing gradually is we have to figure out not why this is happening, not if, not when, not where. Okay, none of these questions matter to housing right now. And I'm going to go into what housing means to all of us in just a second.
Ooh, I like that.
But right now, the mortgage lending industry is struggling
big time
with the question of how.
Yep.
So there's a new director of the FHFA. They want us to lend to everybody equally in equity in order to get, a very nice, racially unbiased market. How? Right? How? That is the question that especially independent mortgage banks right now, they're dealing with that. Every single leader of the independent mortgage banks right now is like, well, how? If these directives are put in place, right? And we're talking all right, when you look at HMDA, those are deals that are closed.
Right.
Okay? that is a reverse lookup on the equity of your lending practice. All right. I think it's pretty fair. I think it's a pretty good way of indicating the equity of a lending practice, which is, by the way, let's face it, Josh, you and I know loan officers, they're not considering this stuff.
Nope, not at all.
It comes after the fact, right? That comes after the fact, the review. What I think everyone is concerned about, especially independent mortgage banks, is if these concerns come to the front and they start judging people and start saying, okay, we need to start initiating these standards now. It's something that Mark Calabria on Fox Business, we didn't include the link we didn't include the link in Rise&Shred to him on Fox Business because there's a huge typo. And I didn't want to embarrass anybody in the media, but there's a huge typo. So we didn't share the video. But the important thing is that Mark Calabria is now already doing TV spots, right? As the former head of FHFA.
Of course.
Criticizing the current head of the FHFA and criticizing the current direction, which he tried to privatize Fannie and Freddie. Right, that talking point is arguable. How big his personal efforts were to privatize Fannie and Freddie. He had 4 years to do it, made zero progress because of the political infrastructure. I always feel like anybody who thought that Fannie and Freddie could come out of conservatorship, they were fooling themselves. And I'm not the only analyst who thinks this, not that I'm an analyst, but this is where we're going, Josh, is that Fannie and Freddie are going to begin to implement these stages of where we have to launch into these more equitable practices, and they're going to start to hold us accountable for it via the CFPB.
Right.
So that's it. That's your woke moment. That's what's coming down the pipe. I will tell you one thing. Tomorrow's Rise&Shred will include commentary about how the Supreme Court decision is a good thing for housing. Okay, so we've spent the time criticizing. We spent the time talking about where it's going, how to deal with it, and all that. Just so everyone knows, we will offer the other side of the other side of the other side.
For sure. And that's what we're all about. Here at Rise&Shred, we're all about both sides of it, making sure that all sides are discussed. And we love to hear your comments. You mentioned this, Jacob. This isn't something that is absolutely forefront in loan officers, in mortgage professionals. This is not forefront in their mind. This is not something that's being discussed. We're seeing on a few headlines here and there. We're talking about it because this can have a huge long-term ramification on our entire industry. Like, absolutely, this is one of those things that should be foremost and forefront. I don't know. I did not say that right, but I don't care. This should be the talking point for everybody right now. You as originators, you as loan officers, you as lenders, like this is something that can absolutely change it. Here, you and I talked about this just before we got on. Change is absolutely something that happens all the time in our industry. It's the only constant in our industries. Things are changing, but this is one of those things that if we're not mindful of it, if we're not actually aware of what's happening and what's going on, it can have huge ramifications down the road. Here's the thing that I get hung up on, and I don't want to try to go back and rehash this, but now that the president, you brought this up in the very beginning, now that the president has the type of, they can literally they're almost like Thanos now, the snap of a finger, they can remove, they can change, exactly. And it's just like, whoa, like this could be potentially down the road. This could have all kinds of we'll see what happens. But to me, I just think it's one of those that, I don't know.
What does it look like? How?
Yeah.
Again, it goes back to how. Josh, you're an amazing loan officer. You are filing, closing pristine mortgages like the rest of us. Double employment, 700 plus FICO. You're doing great. You get a letter from the CFPB that says, why aren't you reinvesting in the community?
Right.
Why are you not? Show me that you are doing sub 700 loans to people. Show me that your loan origination system is diversified. And when we talk about diversity in mortgages, it's a different definition than what the federal government thinks.
100%.
Okay? The federal government paints everything according to race. It's all according to race. It's according to gender. That's the categorization. We in the mortgage industry categorize everything according to data, right? According to FICOs, according to job status, according to incomes, DTIs, right? you and I both know that race rarely comes into the question, if ever, on the loan origination level. But it is something we will now be judged by. Let me repeat that. We will now be judged by that. Okay. Looking at the new head of the FHFA's comments, who said lenders need to look at communities of color. Okay. Like it, hate it. No one cares what my opinion is on it. No one cares what your opinion is on it, but you're going to have to do it. Okay,
absolutely.
You have to get in line and you're going to have to do it. So we have to start to figure out now. That's the point of this entire show.
Yep.
Is that change isn't coming gradually like we're used to. It is happening literally overnight. The Rise&Shred is the daily diary of the mortgage industry, and it can't keep up.
Right.
Every day we can't keep up. Maybe we need to be the double daily diary.
The double daily. Ooh, that's it. The double daily diary. The triple D. We got it.
We could do that. And I can tell you right now, like I said, we can't keep cramming all the information in there and still get you in and out of the email alert within 5 minutes, which is our aim, right? We want you to be able to go into the Rise&Shred and in 5 minutes get all of your headlines and be able to back out and go about your day and know and understand and be knowledgeable of the industry. That is our role. That is our job. That is what we're doing. It's getting challenging, We can keep you in there for 10 more minutes if you want us, Josh. We cram some ads in there, make it look like editorial. We could throw some sponsored content in there, make it look like editorial. Would you like that, Josh?
No. That's not what we're here about. That's not what we're here about, ladies and gentlemen. We're here about, Jacob, you mentioned something, and I kind of want to, as we start wrapping this up, you said something that literally, if you didn't hear, I'm going to say it again, ladies and gentlemen, for all you mortgage professionals, anybody who treats this as your career, now the FHFA, the CFPB, they can come in and they can say, Jacob Gaffney, we have looked at your past lending, and clearly you are not helping the Hispanic or the whoever, you are not helping that community. Now we're requiring you to do this. You need to be doing these type of loans. This is what's happening.
Yes.
And that's why this is so absurd that it's not being talked about on a wider scale. And very, very clear here. Jacob and I are absolutely we believe in all racial equality. We want to everybody. Equal housing is one of those things that I've shared on the show. I talk about it all the time. Jacob and I live in communities where we don't see that as much. Is it happening? Sure. Absolutely. There are certain communities where this is happening and it's a terrible thing. But for the most part, and what this discussion is about, like you said, Jacob, now our reigning governments to add B for us as a lending industry, they can actually require, they're going to start requiring. This will happen. Mark my words. They're going to start requiring, they're going to start looking at your book of business and they're going to say, Jacob, you did not do enough of X amount of loans. You did not do these type of loans. You are not giving back to the community. You are not helping this ethnicity within your community. And whether it's a fine, whether it's you need to do more than whatever it is, Jacob, we're going to that type of lending. Mm-hmm. Yes or no?
That is exactly the way. And it's got a bittersweet tragedy to it, Josh, because I'll tell you why. And this gets to the point of what you were saying is you and I, we are what is called, we're called housers. Okay. Housers are people who want everybody to own a home.
Of course.
We believe in it. Like it drives us. It drives our show. It drives everything. Right. And we want the same thing that the FHFA wants. We wanted it regardless of administration. We wanted it regardless of leadership. We wanted it regardless of the outcome of the Supreme Court. Okay, this is something we wanted our entire careers. It's something that's just identified us as housers, right? And now suddenly you get this parachute politics that comes in and tells us something about, oh, you need to do it this, you need to do that, just this, and we're like, that's not how it works, though.
No.
We're going in this. It's just very, very difficult to think that this is coming down on us, but we will. I tell you what, we're going to figure it out. We're going to make it work. We're going to bring all the information. Okay, we're going to get it right. Listeners of this show, mark my words, you will not be attacked by the CFPB. You follow us. You follow Rise&Shred. We've got you covered. All right. Let us do the worrying for you. You just make your magic happen, and we'll take care of it. Let's just leave it at that, Josh.
That's it. We got you, ladies and gentlemen, and that's why you have to subscribe to the #1 and only daily diary, probably the double most daily diary, the triple most daily diary of the mortgage industry. Whatever we have to do to get it to you, ladies and gentlemen, because that's why this is a labor of love. Like Jacob said, we're not ad hocing. We're not just throwing stories because people are paying. We're bringing you the information you need to know. That's why you got to click below so you don't miss a single edition of the #1 and only daily diary of the mortgage industry. Rise and Shred every single morning into your inbox. Subscribe below. That easy. And like I said, Jacob mentioned it. 2 minutes in and out. We give you the stories. That's it. That's it. Jacob, you're absolutely brilliant, sir. What a great way to start Monday. Ladies and gentlemen, we hope you like this. We hope you share this. We hope you tag somebody below so they can be part of the discussion. Join us because that's what we're all about. Mr. Jacob Gaffney, always a pleasure, always an honor to have you every single Monday morning. And thanks for all that you do educating our industry. Ladies and gentlemen, as always, we appreciate you. We love you. Now it's time for you on this Monday to go shred, go show up, hustle, repeat every day. See ya.